everyone, and welcome to another episode of Future of L&D Tech. Today, we have with us Dr. Jharna Pandya, an accomplished HR leader, executive coach, author, researcher with nearly 2 decades of experience leading HR transformation across manufacturing, petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, and other corporate organizations join us today. Dr. Jharna is the author of Fail, Adapt, Rise, a powerful framework that helps individuals and organizations navigate change through emotional intelligence, resilience, and calm leadership. Global thought leaders, including Marshall Goldsmith, Richard Boyatis, and Ankur Varaku, have recognized her work as well. Today, we'll explore leadership, emotional resilience, organizational culture, AI's impact on people, and what it truly takes to build workplaces that thrive through change. Welcome, Dr. Jharna, to our show today. It's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you, Poonam.
Today, we'll explore, Jharna, with you a little bit about leadership, emotional intelligence. We want to know more about organizational culture and the kind of AI impact that's happening on people today, and what it truly takes to build a workplace that is thriving to so much of change that is happening day on day, minute by minute as well. So we're going to move segment wise and moving to our very first segment with you, which is the journey behind the leader, which is you. The first question we have for you is, you've spent almost 2 decades in HR and leadership, and looking back, what is the first thing that inspired you to build a career around people and organizational development?
In my early career, I saw machines doing exactly what is told to do, but humans were opposite. So humans, we have a very unique point where we are more creative, and there is an element of unpredictability. So during that time, I realized that there is some gap, and that gap made me excited to study about the organizational development and people. So I thought of taking HR and OD as a subject for my work.
Wow, lovely. And having worked across multiple industries, which you thankfully have got the exposure to, what are some of the biggest lessons, and what were those experiences that you have got which taught you about the people and leadership practices which you wish to share with us today?
See, I have worked with different industries like pharma, petrochemicals, textile. Everywhere I have learned one thing, that there is the same lesson everywhere, but people are people who need to be trusted. If you are able to trust people well, and if you are able to help them, then they can be a more resourceful team for you.
They can, of course, become a great asset to any organization.
Yes.
If you are trusting and also investing in them.
Yes. So as a leader, once it's important for you to listen to them and trust them.
Absolutely. So across some of the industries like you just mentioned, would you be able to share some lessons of a petrochemical or a pharma or a textile, any one instance which would help us to kind of get some enlightenment?
Yes. So in one of the manufacturing company when I was working, there was an issue of an overtime where people, it's a manufacturing unit, so people had to work throughout their days. It was like 24/7 plants were working. So overtime was one thing which was a challenge during that time. So what we did is, we brought all the people together and we divided the entire work into the shifts. And then we used to continuously review that, so that the pressure what was created was distributed among all. And we also started an initiative inside the organization which was for emotional well-being and stress management for the employees, so they remain steady in this pressure situation.
Wow, that's so nice. And you would have thought of this 2 decades ago.
Yes.
And it's become like the buzzword in the
Now,
last
yes.
3-4 years of emotional wealth, wellness, right? They have become the buzzwords now. And it's really great to know that you thought of it 2 decades ago, although connected with overtime as a need of the hour, as a situation for you to solve. But the way you connected it, I'm sure you would have managed it so beautifully back then. Moving to the next question is, your work often highlights the emotional side of change. When did you realize that managing emotions is just as important as managing strategy?
See, when we talk about with this changing environments, I come from a very pharma background, because initial career was in pharma. So there I have seen a lot of changes happening. So when there is a change which happens, people are always tensed when change happens. So what happens is that we, as an HR person or the HR leaders, we always first think about the strategy. We don't think about people. So here it was very important that because whenever there is a change which is happening, people are more afraid, because if, for example, if you bring about some kind of a technology inside the organization, then what happens is people are in fear, because they feel that they would be incompetent or they will not be recognized now, their jobs will go. So when these things happen, it's very important that we acknowledge that fear of people, without which they will not be able to stay with you, and people will start leaving. And the kind of fear what creates in them, that is where the actual problem is. So to acknowledge that fear is very important whenever we are bringing about any change inside.
Any change, right? And how did you kind of manage to do that? Would you run some interventions,
yes.
or how did you do
So when I was into a organization, I had a restructuring experience where we saw this kind of a situation. So then what we started is, we started upgrading people, and before bringing any technology, we created a group's core committee kind of thing, where people came together, and then the thing was acknowledged, so that every person from the team is aware that something is going to happen inside the organization, and it is not a one-way thing. It's not only a management.
Everyone is accountable towards the bigger picture.
Bigger picture, yeah.
Amazing, great. So that's how you managed. That's how we strategized towards it. Lovely. And was there any particular experience or a challenge that completely changed the way you approach leadership?
Yes, leadership, when we talk about, again, leadership is very important, that leaders needs to have a skill of listening, which is a key towards any of the success. But along with that, the leader also need to have self-awareness. And if these two qualities are there in a leader, then probably any challenges which are there can be handled well.
Great. So any instance you faced either in any of the firms that you experienced, and how did you tackle that situation?
In one of the organization, we had a challenge where a leader had taken a decision where there was a case where people had to been shifted to some other offices, and during that time, the major shift which was happening, the major challenge what we faced during is convincing people to go to the next office and work. And that was a time where we had to, we made them understand, we showed them the growth path, that if you move to this office, you will be benefited. It's basically moving to offices, shifting them to some other division.
Of course.
And moving them...
And another location.
And another location. So when you move people from one location to the other, and at the same time when you move any person from the comfort zone, things are difficult for them. So we had to convince them. So for the first thing is that we had to listen to them completely. We had to make them trusted that whatever we are taking this decision, this is for your good, you will be benefited. And definitely we had to give them some kind of benefits in terms of when they are shifting, we help them with the relocation and all those things. So probably that helped them.
So that's how some of the way you manage the leadership requests that would have come to your table.
Yes.
Great. If you could sit down with your younger self at the start of your career, if you look back at those days, what advice would you give Dr. Jharna back then?
During that time, I would tell Jharna, stop being overwhelmed, because that was a time where I used to feel, feeling overwhelmed is I'm showing my weakness to others. But now I feel that, that feeling first, understanding and adjusting, and then moving out, which has become, from my personal and professional journey, which has become the title of my book today. Feel deeply, adapt wisely, and rise powerfully.
Amazing, great. So a lot of learnings that you have had from your younger years are also incorporated, I'm sure, in your book.
Yes, it is.
Right.
It is.
So it's like just not over the last 5-7 years experience. It's your 20-25 years of experience into that book.
Absolutely. So basically, my book is it's a complete story of my personal transformation, I can say, because I tell you, it starts very early. When I was a child, my grandfather used to tell me bedtime stories. I was fortunate to be in a joint family where I had a grandfather, grandmother who were like, my grandfather used to tell me a story. Every night there would be a bedtime story. And the moral of the stories would be like, try till you succeed. Success comes to those who dare and act. So when we he used to tell different stories, but the moral would be that. But during that time, I was not able to understand. Probably he had that thing in mind that this would be the need of the hour when she would grow up. And that is how I think he was preparing me for building my resilience. That's what I realize now after doing so much of work into this area.
Oh, lovely.
Secondly, my journey has never been simple. I am a person who has moved from a housewife to a corporate boardroom. So my journey has been like after 10 years of my graduating, I again restarted my career. I did my MBA in HR and then joined this corporate journey. So when I joined, people had already, completed 20 years of theirs in this field, and I was starting from zero. So at times I had lots of challenges where, I used to feel, okay, Jharna, it's going to be difficult for you. And I used to remember my grandfather's morals, which used to tell me, okay, you have to try till you get successful. Then I joined a corporate. And in the corporate also, my journey was like, very good initially. But I do got an experience of working with a manager who was a micromanager. And there were a lot of conflicts which used to happen with him. But one day what happened is every day there were challenges, and I used to feel, what's going on, Jharna? This is not the way. I cannot leave, you cannot work with such a toxic culture. So one day I had a heated argument with him, and I just went back and I was thinking. And when I was thinking, I thought, I'm giving my piece to somebody's hand, and this is not what's done.
Correct.
That was again a stepping stone, you can say, for me, because it was again a new learning for me there. Then I always had this inclination of understanding people, learning about why people behave the way they behave. And that is what made me to get into this PhD work of my emotional intelligence. When I was doing my PhD in emotional intelligence, I got a support from my guide, Dr. Anjali Kalse, her name. She supported me. Then I had lots of support from my bosses, my colleagues, my family. And when I completed and also Dr. Richard Boyce, who is one of the professor at the Case Western University, he also helped me in my research work during that time. Wow. So with lots of support, I completed my EI work. But then I realized, that Jharna, 20 years of experience, you have so much of personal experience, professional experience, you need to do something. And then I thought about writing a book, which is Feel, Adapt, Rise, and that is a framework. And now people, when they are using this framework, I get a lot of, I really feel that it's not a story which I have written, it's my personal transformation. Yeah, and that is the total, overall 20 years of experience in the
Into that
corporate
book.
and my personal life throughout.
So your purpose is actually of you, why did you take certain decisions, right? And what you have gone through and learned, whether through your grandfather's stories, whether through your corporate bosses, right? I think all of it, I'm sure, would
Yes,
be there. I
absolutely.
think all of us need to grab the copy and have a look at that book.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. With this, we complete segment 1. We'll move to segment 2 shortly. Thank you.